13 Things You Need to Know to Live Happily. Stoicism. Have you ever wondered if you truly know what it takes to be happy? Don't worry, you're not the only one. We're so caught up chasing after things, goals, and people that we forget the basics. Everyone talks about happiness, but who really tells you how to find it without all the noise? Today, we're getting straight to the point and exploring what Stoic philosophy and modern psychology can teach us about living a truly happy life. True happiness is in the little moments we often overlook: laughing, going for a walk, waking up early, and disconnecting from our phones every once in a while. It's not about chasing external things, but about changing how we see the world and ourselves. In this video, we're going to reveal 13 powerful lessons that can shift your mindset and help you build lasting happiness from within. Stay tuned, because these lessons have the power to transform the way you live. Before we start, don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more insights. Let's dive in. 1. Laugh more. Laughter is often underestimated as a simple, fleeting pleasure. But have you ever stopped to think about how complicated we make life by taking everything so seriously? Too many of us walk around with furrowed brows, as if we're in a contest to see who can wear the most serious expression. Yet both science and ancient wisdom remind us that perhaps we should ease up a little and laugh more. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Laughter, in this sense, can be one of the healthiest ways to respond to life's trials. Let's bring this idea into the modern world. Research led by Dr. Lee Burke at Loma Linda University shows that laughter is more than just an emotional release. It's a powerful fighter against stress. Picture it as a warrior, not with a sword, but armed with jokes and belly laughs. According to Burke's findings, laughter doesn't just make you feel good. It actually reduces the production of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. Think of it as nature's stress relief medicine, one that's accessible anytime, anywhere. Next time you find yourself overwhelmed, whether it's due to work pressures or family responsibilities, remember that a few moments of genuine laughter can shift your mood and lighten the load. Laughter is like an emotional roller coaster, full of ups and downs, unexpected turns, and sometimes it leaves you feeling a bit queasy. But the important part is that it keeps you securely strapped in, helping you stay grounded. When you laugh, your levels of cortisol and adrenaline drop, making space for the release of beta endorphins, your body's natural painkillers. These magical little hormones not only make you feel happy, but also dull the perception of pain. So, the next time your boss drops a bomb of bad news or life throws an unexpected curveball, instead of letting stress take over, let out a good laugh. As the old adage goes, laughter is the best medicine, and in this case, it's not just figurative, it's literal. For those who think laughter is only for the naturally funny or those blessed with a great sense of humor, think again. Laughter therapy, a concept that has been increasingly studied, has shown real promise. A study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine revealed that laughter therapy sessions helped cancer patients improve their mood and reduce feelings of depression. Even in the darkest of times, the ability to find humor can provide a beacon of light and hope. The modern world often tells us that we need to be serious, that life is full of heavy responsibilities, especially for men in their 40s to 70s who are often balancing work, family, and personal health. But it's precisely during these times that laughter becomes even more essential. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In that strength, laughter becomes a tool to control how we react to the stresses and challenges of life. Whether it's laughing at yourself for spilling coffee on your shirt, or chuckling at an awkward situation during a meeting, finding humor in life's imperfections can help you navigate through it all with more ease. Moreover, we often get so caught up in chasing achievements, status, and material things that we forget the importance of joy. Take a moment to consider this. When was the last time you laughed just for the sake of it? We tend to think that only grand successes will make us happy, but happiness often lies in those small, everyday moments. Seneca, another great Stoic, wisely said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present, without anxious dependence upon the future." Laughter is one way to anchor ourselves in the present moment, allowing us to appreciate life as it is, rather than as we wish it to be. A great example is something as simple as watching a funny show or sharing a silly joke with a friend. You don't need an elaborate event to laugh. Sometimes the funniest moments happen unexpectedly. Picture yourself stuck in traffic, a situation that usually leads to frustration. Now imagine turning on a comedy podcast or recalling a funny memory. Suddenly, the stress of the moment melts away, and you feel lighter. The situation hasn't changed, but your reaction has. This is the power of laughter. It changes your perception, making difficult moments more bearable. Additionally, laughter has physical benefits. It improves cardiovascular health by increasing blood flow, boosting your immune system, and even burning calories. Yes, that's right. Laughing for 10 to 15 minutes a day can actually help you stay fit. It's a simple habit with significant benefits both mentally and physically. The Stoics understood that a healthy body and mind were essential for living a balanced life, and laughter plays an important role in that balance. Think about it. If a laugh can help relieve stress, reduce pain, improve your mood, and even strengthen your immune system, why wouldn't you embrace it more often? In a society that values productivity and achievement, we often neglect these simple, effective tools for well-being. By incorporating more laughter into your life, you can improve your mental and physical health without needing expensive treatments or complicated routines. As the philosopher Zeno once said, "Well-being is realized by small steps, but is truly no small thing." In conclusion, laughter is more than just a fleeting moment of joy. It's a powerful tool for living a happier, healthier life. Whether it's through humor, finding joy in the little things, or learning to laugh at life's absurdities, embracing laughter can transform the way you experience the world. So, the next time life gets too serious, remember to find reasons to laugh. It could be the key to unlocking a more balanced, content, and resilient version of yourself. 2. Spend time outdoors and in contact with nature. In today's fast-paced society, we often feel trapped in our offices, meeting rooms, and homes, moving from one space to another without ever stepping out into the fresh air. But ask yourself, is this really the way life should be lived? The Stoics, renowned for their wisdom and connection with nature, would certainly suggest otherwise. In fact, spending time outdoors and reconnecting with nature may be one of the most impactful decisions you can make to improve your overall happiness and well-being. And guess what? Science backs this up too. For centuries, humans have found solace, peace, and joy in the simplicity of nature. Whether it's the rustling of leaves, the warmth of the sun on your skin, or the soothing sound of a flowing stream. In ancient times, the Stoics, like Marcus Aurelius, would walk through the forests or along the coastline, reflecting on life and its meaning. "Look deep into nature and then you will understand everything better," said Albert Einstein. The healing power of nature is not just a poetic thought, it's a real, measurable force that modern science has proven time and again. Yet we've become so accustomed to the comfort of air-conditioned offices and sealed windows that we forget the rejuvenating effect of being outdoors. A study conducted in Japan, known as forest bathing, showed remarkable results. People who spent time surrounded by trees experienced significantly lower levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, and reduced heart rates. This isn't just a coincidence. Nature, with its calmness and beauty, has a profound ability to reduce stress, relax the mind, and restore a sense of inner peace. Next time you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious, instead of reaching for that cup of coffee or scrolling through your phone, consider stepping outside for a walk. Not only will you breathe in fresh air, but you'll also clear your mind and rejuvenate your spirit, much like the Stoics did during their contemplative strolls. In modern life, we are constantly bombarded with stimuli, emails, deadlines, social media notifications. The need to stay connected 24/7 has never been greater, and it's exhausting. Nature offers a break from this relentless pace, a chance to reset and recharge. Whether it's a walk in a park, a hike in the mountains, or simply sitting by a river, these moments are opportunities to disconnect from the digital world and reconnect with yourself. Think about it. When was the last time you really took the time to feel the earth under your feet or breathe in the fresh air without distractions? These simple acts can significantly improve your mental health and overall happiness. And if you're thinking that you don't have time for long hikes or weekend getaways, think again. Even a small change, like having a view of nature from your office window, can make a difference. A study showed that employees who had a natural view from their desks reported higher job satisfaction and lower stress levels. It's not just about taking a vacation to a forest. Incorporating small doses of nature into your daily routine can have a lasting impact. Whether it's walking through a park on your lunch break or simply sitting under a tree for a few minutes, every little bit counts. Moreover, spending time in nature isn't just about physical benefits. It nurtures your mental and emotional well-being too. If you're someone who struggles with anxiety or depression, you might be surprised to learn that nature can act as your personal therapist. Research has shown that outdoor activities, even as simple as walking, can drastically improve mood and alleviate symptoms of mental health issues. When you step outside and engage with the world around you, you're giving your mind and body the space they need to heal. There's something about the vastness of the natural world that puts our problems into perspective. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely stated, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." In fact, nature invites us to live more in the present moment, a core principle of Stoicism. It encourages us to slow down, breathe, and appreciate the simplicity of life. In modern life, where we are constantly chasing goals and ticking off tasks, it's easy to forget the beauty of just being. Standing by the ocean, walking through a forest, or even tending to a small garden can remind you of this. It's a practice in mindfulness, and as Marcus Aurelius taught, nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Nature helps you access that quiet, untroubled retreat. Picture this. Instead of rushing from one responsibility to another, imagine starting your day with a peaceful walk in the fresh morning air. Feel the cool breeze on your face and listen to the sounds of birds chirping. This simple act could set the tone for a more focused, calm, and happier day ahead. When we spend time outdoors, we connect with something larger than ourselves. It reminds us that life is not just about ticking off the to-do list. It's about experiencing the world, embracing simplicity, and finding joy in the present moment. So the next time you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or simply stuck in the daily grind, take a step outside. Whether it's for 5 minutes or 5 hours, make nature a regular part of your life. Feel the ground beneath your feet, the air in your lungs, and let the natural world work its magic on you. And if your schedule doesn't allow for long breaks outdoors, even a few minutes by an open window soaking in the natural light can work wonders. The best psychologist you'll ever meet is nature itself. It offers a quiet space to reflect, an escape from the chaos, and a reminder of the beauty of life. As you strive for happiness, never forget that sometimes the simplest things, like spending time outdoors, can have the most profound impact on your well-being. Why not make nature your ally in the pursuit of a happier, healthier life? After all, life is too short to be spent indoors, and happiness might be just a step outside your door. 3. Be an early riser. Have you ever noticed how modern life seems to have conspired against our mornings, turning them into something we dread rather than cherish? There's a certain pride in calling ourselves night owls, basking in the comfort of late nights and long mornings under the covers. But what if I told you that waking up earlier might be the key to living a happier and more fulfilling life? I know it sounds like a cliché, but stay with me for a moment. According to a study by the University of Toronto, early risers tend to be more optimistic and happier. So, If you're someone who rolls out of bed at 10 a.m., it might be time to reconsider your habits and make some changes for the better. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting you set your alarm for 6 a.m. tomorrow and leap out of bed like a spring-loaded jack-in-the-box. That's not realistic. What I'm proposing is a gradual adjustment, much like tuning a guitar, where each small tweak brings you closer to harmony. The trick is to align yourself with your body's natural rhythm, and that's where the concept of circadian rhythms comes in. These rhythms are like your body's internal clock, dictating when you should sleep and when you should wake to function at your best. When you sleep early and rise with the sun, you're giving your body a chance to reset, refresh, and prepare for the day with energy and clarity. It's like hitting the reset button for your mind and body. Picture this. You wake up early, the world is still quiet, and you have time to sip a hot coffee, reflect on your goals, or even get in a light workout before the day's chaos begins. That, my friend, is pure happiness. It's not just about waking up early for the sake of it. It's about reclaiming your mornings and setting a positive tone for the rest of your day. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." There's wisdom in that. When you embrace the morning, you're embracing life itself. Of course, it's not always that simple. Some of us, by genetics or preference, are more inclined to be night owls, and that's okay. There's no one-size-fits-all approach to life. However, studies have shown that those who consistently stay up late may face an increased risk of mental health issues, such as depression or even schizophrenia. Does this mean every night owl is destined for unhappiness? Certainly not. Life is more complex than that. What matters most is finding what works best for you, but it's worth considering that becoming an early riser could offer benefits you hadn't anticipated. So, how can you make the shift toward being an early riser? Let's start with a few practical tips. First, establish a consistent sleep routine. Try going to bed at the same time every night, even on weekends, to help regulate your body's clock. Second, avoid bright screens before bedtime. Your phone, TV, and tablet are notorious for tricking your brain into thinking it's still daylight, which makes it harder to fall asleep. Lastly, find something that motivates you to get up early. It could be a book you've been meaning to read, a new exercise routine, or just the peaceful solitude of the early morning hours. When you have something to look forward to, getting out of bed becomes easier and more enjoyable. In modern life, where stress and responsibilities pile up quickly, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. But waking up early can give you a head start on the day, a chance to gather your thoughts, plan your goals, and start with a clear, focused mind. Imagine how different your day could feel if you weren't rushing out the door, but instead calmly approaching your tasks with a sense of control and optimism. That's the power of mornings. Seneca once said, "The greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today." By waking up early, you reclaim the present and make the most of each day. Let me share a modern story with you. I once knew a man, let's call him Tom, who struggled with balancing his work, family, and personal health. His days were chaotic, constantly rushing from one task to the next, always feeling like he was behind. One day, after years of living like this, he decided to make a change. He started waking up just 30 minutes earlier every morning. That extra time allowed him to exercise, meditate, and organize his thoughts before the hustle of the day began. Within weeks, his mood improved, his stress levels dropped, and he found that his productivity soared. Tom didn't transform his life overnight, but by taking small steps, starting with his mornings, he created a ripple effect that made his entire life more fulfilling. So I ask you, what would your mornings look like if you gave yourself that extra time? Could waking up earlier be the change you've been looking for to improve your happiness and mental clarity? It's worth thinking about. The science is there, and the wisdom of the Stoics backs it up. Rising with the sun can help you lead a healthier, happier life. But more than that, it's about seizing the opportunities that each morning brings. As the Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, "No great thing is created suddenly, any more than a bunch of grapes or a fig." If you tell me that you desire a fig, I answer you that there must be time. Let it first blossom, then bear fruit, then ripen. Waking up early is just one small step in a larger journey toward living your best life. At the end of the day, or rather, at the start of the day, remember that mornings are an opportunity. They are a fresh beginning, a chance to set the tone for everything that follows. Waking up early is not just about beating the alarm clock. It's about embracing the promise of a new day, with all its potential and possibilities. So, the next time you're tempted to hit the snooze button, remember that happiness might just be waiting for you on the other side of that pillow. Rise, shine, and take control of your day. After all, as Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the dawn is always a reminder that we have the power to choose how we face life. 4. Fill your days with plans. Have you ever felt like your weekends fly by faster than a cup of poorly brewed coffee? One moment you're making plans for an exciting Saturday, and before you know it, Monday has arrived, leaving you wondering where all that time went. It's a feeling we've all had, but the good news is that there are ways to make your free time feel longer and more meaningful. This is where Stoic philosophy, mixed with a bit of science, can help. The key to filling your life with meaning lies in balancing planning with spontaneity. As the Stoic philosopher Seneca wisely said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." David Eagleman, a neuroscientist who has done extensive work on the perception of time, suggests that experiencing new things can make time feel more abundant. Think of your brain like a camera. When you're stuck in a routine, the camera lens is on automatic mode, capturing blurry, monotonous images. But when you decide to step out of your comfort zone, whether by exploring a new neighborhood or trying out an exotic restaurant, it's like switching to manual mode. You capture every detail, every flavor, and every ray of sunshine as if it were the last. Life becomes richer, more vibrant, and time seems to stretch. This principle can help you transform your weekends, making them feel more fulfilling and enjoyable. By introducing novelty into your days off, you're essentially tricking your brain into perceiving time more slowly, and thus, more meaningfully. However, there's a catch. If you plan every single minute of your day off, you might end up feeling like a robot checking off a to-do list. A study has shown that over-organizing your leisure time can lead to stress, rather than enjoyment. What starts as a promise of fun can quickly turn into another chore. You need to allow room for spontaneity, for the unexpected moments that make life exciting. If one Saturday you decide not to have a specific plan, embrace it. You might stumble upon a new hobby, enjoy an impromptu coffee with an old friend, or discover a hidden gem in your city. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this. A friend of mine, always a meticulous planner, found his weekends slipping away with little satisfaction. One Saturday, instead of planning every detail, he left his day open. That day, he wandered into a local art exhibit he hadn't planned to visit, struck up a conversation with a stranger, and ended up spending the afternoon at a cafe he'd never noticed before. That unplanned day became one of his most cherished memories, simply because he allowed the unexpected to unfold. This is the magic of spontaneity. It creates room for the kind of adventures that make life worth living. So, how can you strike the right balance between planning and spontaneity to make your free time feel more abundant and fulfilling? One idea is to dedicate a day off to exploring something new, whether that's a different part of your city, a museum you've never been to, or a nature trail nearby. The novelty will not only refresh your mind, but will also stretch your perception of time. As Marcus Aurelius said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." By embracing new experiences, you're filling your mind with thoughts that elevate your happiness. But when planning activities, it's important to keep a light-hearted attitude. If something doesn't go as expected, let it be. Some of the best stories come from the things that weren't in the script. Flexibility is key. You don't want to turn your leisure into a rigid schedule that leaves you stressed rather than relaxed. Leave space in your calendar for the unpredictable joys of life. It could be a spontaneous walk in the park, an unexpected invitation to a dinner party, or even a lazy afternoon with no plans at all. These moments are what create lasting memories, not the perfectly planned outings. Another idea is to focus on experiences rather than material things. It's easy to get caught up in acquiring new gadgets or items, but it's the experiences we remember most. Instead of shopping for things, consider spending your time visiting exhibitions, attending workshops, or going out for a meal at a new place. These are the moments that will add depth and meaning to your life, creating a mosaic of rich, diverse experiences. After all, as Seneca pointed out, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. By filling your days with experiences rather than objects, you focus on living rather than worrying. Time in reality is subjective. It depends on how you live it. If you fill your days with a mix of plans and open spaces for spontaneity, you'll find yourself enjoying each moment without feeling like you're trapped in an endless routine. The Stoics teach us that our perception of time and life itself is rooted in how we respond to what happens. You can either let your days slip through your fingers, or you can take control, savoring each moment as it comes. Next time you feel like your weekend is slipping away, remember that you have the power to change that perception. As a wise Stoic proverb says, "Life is like a book. If you don't explore, you'll only read one page." By balancing planning with spontaneity, by embracing the new while being flexible with your time, you can make your days richer and more meaningful. This is the key to living happily, filling your time with intention and allowing for the unexpected. So take control of your weekends, fill them with plans that excite you, but leave enough room for those beautiful, unplanned moments that make life feel full. 5. No renuncies a tus pasiones. In today's fast-paced world, we are often pushed into routines that force us to set aside the things we love. It's almost as if society is telling us that in order to be successful, we must abandon our passions and focus on tasks that don't inspire us. But who decided that happiness and work must be at odds with each other? If you're wondering about this, you're in good company with the Stoics, those ancient thinkers who remind us that the pursuit of happiness begins with understanding ourselves. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." And what better quality of thought is there than to be fully immersed in something you love? A recent study revealed something remarkable. People who devote time to their passions are 18% less sad and up to 34% less stressed. Yes, you heard that right. Less stress. It might sound like magic, but it's simply the reality of living with purpose. When you're engaged in something that resonates with you, it's like your brain shifts into a different gear, where stress takes a backseat and joy takes the wheel. But maybe you're asking yourself if turning your passion into a career brings additional benefits. The short answer is yes, but with a twist. According to an article from Harvard Business Review, having a personal passion separate from your job actually produces more mental health benefits. It's as if dedicating yourself to something that fulfills you, even if it's outside of your daily work, can transform your entire outlook on life. The famous productivity expert Laura Vanderkam describes it beautifully. She says that when we immerse ourselves in our passions, time seems to melt away, and the more we allow ourselves to spend time in that zone, the more joyful life feels. Think about it. When was the last time you lost track of time because you were so absorbed in something you loved? That's the power of passion. Let me share a story from modern life to illustrate this. A friend of mine worked a high-stress corporate job. Every day, he faced meetings, deadlines, and emails that never seemed to stop. But one day, he picked up an old guitar he hadn't touched in years. What started as a simple hobby turned into a regular part of his week. He didn't quit his job, but by dedicating just a little time to his passion, he found that his stress levels dropped and his overall mood improved dramatically. It wasn't that his work had changed, it was that he had found balance by honoring his passion. His story is a reminder that you don't need to make drastic life changes to feel happier. Sometimes, It's as simple as carving out time for what you love. Now you might be thinking, this all sounds great in theory, but life isn't always a smooth ride where we can skip the boring parts. And you're right. Life isn't like a Netflix series where you can fast forward through the mundane. This is where action comes into play. Instead of letting stress and routine control your life, take charge by setting aside time each week just for yourself. No distractions, no obligations, just time to engage with your passion. Whether it's painting, writing, exercising, or even trying out a new recipe you've been curious about. The key is to enjoy the process without worrying about the outcome. As the Stoics would advise, the focus should be on the journey, not the destination. The simple act of engaging with what you love can bring immense satisfaction. What would your life look like if you dedicated time to your passions every week? How would your mental and emotional state change? Could it make your workdays more bearable, knowing you have something to look forward to? These are important questions to ask yourself, and they're questions the Stoics would encourage you to consider. After all, Stoicism teaches us that happiness is not some far-off goal, but something we create through our daily choices and actions. The next time someone suggests that you abandon your passions for the sake of practicality, remind them, and yourself, that happiness isn't a distant destination. It's a series of moments we create by doing what we love. In modern life, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that our passions are something we can put off until later, or worse, that they don't really matter. But I urge you to rethink that. Passions are not frivolous distractions from the serious parts of life. They are what make life rich and meaningful. Like my father used to say, whoever doesn't dare to follow their passions will never truly know happiness. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Don't let the routine of everyday life dim the fire of your passions. Instead, fuel that fire and let it light your path to a more fulfilled life. As the Stoics remind us, the true path to happiness is rooted in self-awareness and intentional living. So make a commitment to yourself today. Whether it's 5 minutes or an hour, carve out time for what you love. Because at the end of the day, the things that bring you joy are not a luxury. They're a necessity for a life well lived. 6. Bet on kindness. In a world where stress and rushing through life seem to dominate every moment, choosing kindness is like finding a forgotten $50 bill in the pocket of a coat you haven't worn in months. It sounds like a cliché, I know, but that doesn't make it any less true. When you bet on kindness, you not only brighten someone else's day, but you also give yourself a gift in return. Because, let's be honest, kindness isn't just something we give to others. It's like a boomerang that comes back to you, often with interest. The Stoics understood this deeply. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you wake up one morning, and it's one of those days. You're late, you forgot to make coffee, and to top it off, your coworker won't stop complaining about the printer malfunctioning. You're already on edge. But instead of letting the negativity drag you down, you make a conscious choice to be kind. You smile at your coworker, offer them a coffee, and assure them that everything will be fine. And suddenly, the day feels a little lighter, doesn't it? Kindness has that effect. It's like a ray of sunshine breaking through the clouds. Research even backs this up. As psychologist Marian Rojas points out, acts of kindness not only boost empathy and self-esteem, but also serve as a natural antidote to stress and depression. When you do something nice for someone, your brain releases serotonin and dopamine, the same feel-good chemicals you get from winning a prize or receiving a heartfelt compliment. Except here's the thing. Kindness isn't a lottery. It's something you can control, something you can practice every day, and the benefits are real. Your mood improves, your stress levels drop, and those around you start to feel the positive ripple effects of your actions. It's like a butterfly effect, but with smiles and good vibes instead of chaos. Of course, not everyone will see it this way. Some might argue that kindness is a sign of weakness, that being too nice means you'll get taken advantage of. But the Stoics would disagree. They believe that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we react to it. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So when someone else's negativity tries to pull you down, you can choose to respond with kindness instead. Rather than being swept up in the storm, you become a lighthouse of calm and compassion, lighting the way for yourself and others. So, how can you practice kindness in your daily life? It doesn't have to be grand gestures. Start small. A simple "good morning" or holding the door open for someone can go a long way. And don't underestimate the power of really listening when someone talks to you. So many people go through their days feeling unheard, and by giving them your full attention, you're offering a kindness that goes beyond words. Another easy way to practice kindness is by helping out when you see someone struggling, whether it's carrying a heavy bag or helping a colleague with a tricky project at work. Then there's gratitude, a form of kindness often overlooked. Take a moment to express thanks, not just for what you receive, but also for what you observe around you. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the laughter of a child, or even a well-written book can be sources of gratitude that shift your perspective. When you practice gratitude, you train your brain to focus on the positive, and that in turn makes it easier to be kind. As Seneca wisely noted, gratitude is not only the greatest of virtues but the parent of all others. When you treat others with kindness, they're more likely to pass it on, creating a ripple effect that can transform not just your day, but the days of everyone you encounter. It's like a chain reaction of positivity. Imagine the difference we could make if each of us made kindness a daily habit. Instead of letting cynicism and negativity dictate our actions, we'd be choosing to make the world just a little bit brighter. 7. Try saying yes more often. Have you ever thought about how many times you say no to life? A friend invites you to a gathering, and instead of getting excited, you start making excuses. "I'm too tired," "I don't feel like meeting new people," or "I can't dance." Seriously, when was the last time you allowed yourself to just go with the flow? The truth is, many of us live within the safety of our comfort zones, rejecting opportunities without realizing that each no could be closing the door to an enriching experience. Stoic philosophy reminds us that while we can't control everything in life, we can control how we respond to it. So why not start controlling something as simple yet powerful as the word yes? Saying yes to new experiences can feel uncomfortable, especially when stepping out of routine seems like diving into freezing water. It's a shock at first, but once you're in, it's refreshing. Think about it. When you say yes to life's invitations, whether it's a party, a chance to meet new people, or an opportunity to learn something new, you're not just opening the door to discomfort, you're inviting excitement, growth, and joy into your life. The initial awkwardness of stepping into the unknown fades, and what's left is a sense of accomplishment and satisfaction. In fact, scientists have found that trying new things can trigger the release of dopamine in the brain, the chemical associated with pleasure and happiness. Let's be real here. Life isn't about being the center of attention or the life of every party. Sometimes all it takes is one small yes to create a big impact. Imagine you start with something as simple as agreeing to a coffee with an old friend, signing up for an online class, or joining a meeting you'd normally skip. These seemingly minor experiences can unfold into new adventures. Maybe that coffee date sparks a meaningful conversation that brightens your day, or that online course introduces you to a new skill that changes your perspective. The point is, saying yes opens doors. And who knows? Maybe you'll discover an unexpected talent, like a knack for salsa dancing or an interest in judo that you never thought you had. Life, as Shakespeare famously wrote, is a stage, and if you don't step onto it, you risk missing out on the best performances. Even if you try something new and realize it's not for you, so what? You won't die from trying something once. In fact, the experience will give you a story to tell and, most importantly, you'll avoid the regret of never knowing what could have been. Wouldn't you rather laugh about a funny mishap at a dance class than sit at home wondering what it would have been like to give it a try? As the old saying goes, it's better to regret something you did than something you didn't do. Let me share an example from modern life. A colleague of mine used to be someone who always said no. He avoided social events, stayed in his comfort zone, and stuck to his routine like glue. But one day he was invited to a weekend retreat. Initially he wanted to decline, but on a whim he said yes. That retreat ended up being a turning point in his life. It introduced him to meditation, helped him forge deeper connections with colleagues, and most importantly, gave him a new sense of inner calm. He didn't become a completely different person overnight, but that single yes set off a chain of positive changes that enriched his life in ways he hadn't imagined. Now he says yes more often, embracing life's possibilities, and reaping the benefits of stepping out of his usual bubble. So, my friend, the next time you find yourself caught up in the routine of daily life, remember that kindness isn't just a gift for others. It's a gift for yourself. When you choose to be kind, you're actively shaping your environment, turning it into a space where happiness can flourish. Don't let the world's hurry and stress pull you away from this simple, powerful truth. Kindness has the power to transform not only your mood, but also the lives of those around you. As they say, kindness is the light that can dispel the darkness of selfishness. Be that light, and watch how the world responds. Of course, there's no denying that there will be moments when saying yes leads to discomfort or challenges. But isn't that part of life's beauty? The Stoics teach us that discomfort is a natural part of growth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, those challenges are not obstacles. They're stepping stones to becoming a better version of yourself. Every time you say yes, even when it's difficult, you're building resilience, learning something new, and growing as a person. At the end of the day, happiness isn't a destination. It's a journey filled with small, everyday choices. And sometimes, the best choice you can make is to step outside your comfort zone and let life surprise you. So next time someone invites you to an event, proposes a new plan, or offers you a chance to do something different, take a deep breath, smile, and let the word yes slip from your lips. It might just lead you to a new chapter in your life that you never knew you needed. After all, as Epictetus wisely said, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. 8. Turn off your cell phone from time to time. When was the last time you turned off your phone? If you're pausing to think about it, chances are it's been far too long. It's fascinating how a simple piece of plastic and metal has become such a powerful extension of our lives to the point where we forget there's a whole world outside of that glowing screen. But turning off your phone isn't just an act of rebellion against technology. It's a powerful way to reclaim your mental and emotional health. Let's dig deeper into how disconnecting, even for a little while, can transform your life in ways you might not expect. Let's start with the science, because even though it might seem a bit dull, it's incredibly important. Research shows that giving your brain just 15 minutes of freedom from your phone can immediately boost your well-being. Think of it like this. It's as if you've been holding your breath underwater for too long, and when you finally come up for air, you can feel your lungs fill with fresh oxygen. That's exactly what happens to your brain when you unplug from your device. It breathes. The constant notifications, the endless scroll, and the never-ending flow of information create a mental fog that's difficult to shake. But when you turn off your phone, even for a short time, it's like clearing the air and allowing your mind to reset. Now, if you're thinking that your phone only affects your relationship with yourself, think again. Studies have shown that simply having your phone on the table or in your hand during a conversation can drastically reduce the connection and empathy you feel toward the other person. Those distracted glances and the habitual, "Sorry, I was just checking something," aren't just minor annoyances. They actively sabotage your relationships. After all, who wants to feel like they're competing with a device for your attention? By putting your phone away, you're signaling to the people around you that they matter, that they are worthy of your full focus, and that their words are being truly heard. If you're still not convinced, think about the effect of social media on your stress levels. It's been proven that stepping away from platforms like Facebook, even for just a few days, can significantly reduce your cortisol levels, that sneaky hormone responsible for stress. And let's be honest, social media can often feel like a pressure cooker of comparison, anxiety, and negativity. Instagram, for instance, has been labeled as the worst social media platform for mental health, especially for young people. So, how do you start? You don't need to escape to a mountain retreat, although to be fair, that doesn't sound half bad. Start by setting aside specific times of the day when you turn off your phone, during meals, before bed, or when you're with friends. At first it might feel difficult, like giving up sugar, but over time you'll start to feel lighter, less anxious, and more in tune with the world around you. You'll realize that real life isn't found in a screen, it's in the experiences, interactions, and emotions shared with the people who matter. Here's a simple story from modern life. A colleague of mine used to have his phone glued to his hand 24/7, meetings, family dinners, even movie nights at home. He was constantly checking emails, scrolling through news feeds, and jumping at every ping. One day, after feeling particularly burnt out, he decided to start a new habit. He began turning off his phone during dinner and when spending time with his family. The results were almost immediate. His stress levels dropped. He became more engaged in conversations, and he realized that the quality of his relationships was improving. It wasn't that his life suddenly became easier. It's just that he was finally paying attention to what was right in front of him, rather than being distracted by the endless noise of the digital world. Start by giving yourself permission to disconnect. Turn off your phone during the moments that matter, when you're with loved ones, when you're resting, or when you just need a mental break. The world will keep spinning, and the notifications will still be there when you're ready to return. But by taking this small step, you'll find yourself more engaged, more connected, and more alive in the present moment. Remember, turning off your phone isn't just about unplugging from technology. It's about reconnecting with life. Every time you power down your device, you open the door to real experiences, real conversations, and real connections. So the next time you're tempted to reach for your phone out of habit, stop and remind yourself, the life that matters is happening right now, right in front of you. As Marcus Aurelius said, the present moment is all we ever have. Embrace it fully and let go of the distractions that pull you away from it. You'll be surprised at how much richer your life becomes when you take the time to truly live it. 9. Take a vacation and travel. Have you noticed how life often feels like an endless loop of work, obligations, and that constant, "Can you make time for this?" that haunts you even in your dreams? It's easy to feel like a hamster on a wheel, running endlessly yet getting nowhere. But what if I told you there's a way to break free from this madness? Yes, I'm talking about vacations. And no, it's not just about snapping a picture in front of a scenic beach to make your friends jealous. Travel is one of those rare experiences that not only pulls you out of the grind, but also revitalizes your mental health and overall happiness. So let's take a moment and dive into why you should be taking that much needed vacation and how it could do wonders for both your mental and emotional well-being. To start with, traveling is not just a luxury, it's an investment in yourself. Studies show that those who travel more frequently experience less stress and find more satisfaction in their relationships. There's also something magical about the mere anticipation of a trip. A study from the UK found that people who had a vacation planned felt significantly happier about their lives overall, even before they packed their bags. It turns out that just thinking about your upcoming getaway can brighten your mood, like a ray of sunshine piercing through a cloudy day. You don't even have to be on the beach to enjoy the benefits, just knowing it's in your future is enough to lift your spirits. Have you ever felt that surge of excitement as you count down the days to a trip? That feeling is a boost to your well-being all on its own. But here's the best part. You don't need to take a month-long vacation to see the benefits. Research shows that even a short break, just a couple of days, can dramatically reduce stress. So why not plan a long weekend and escape to that nearby spot you've always wanted to visit? It doesn't have to be an exotic destination like the Maldives. Sometimes, exploring a place close to home can be just as refreshing. The key is taking the time for yourself, stepping away from the grind and letting your mind reset. And let me ask you this. When was the last time you truly gave yourself permission to rest? If you're waiting for the right time, chances are it'll never come. The Stoic philosophers, like Epictetus, often spoke about focusing on what we can control. You can't control everything in life, but you can control how you use your time and where you place your priorities. So, why not prioritize yourself for a change? Take control of your schedule and plan those small getaways. These moments of escape will give you the energy to face life's demands with a clearer, calmer mind. It's also important to recognize the value of stepping out of your comfort zone. Every journey is an opportunity to learn, not just about new places, but about yourself. Whether it's trying a dish you've never heard of or getting lost in an unfamiliar city, each experience adds a new layer to your understanding of the world and yourself. Isn't that worth pursuing? Travel isn't just about relaxation. It's a chance to grow, to broaden your horizons, and to challenge your perspective. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, said, "The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it." By exposing yourself to new experiences, you invite change into your life. Positive change that makes you a more resilient, open-minded individual. Let me share a quick story. I knew a man who hadn't taken a vacation in years. He was always consumed by work, constantly putting off travel until next year. But when he finally booked a trip, a simple weekend getaway to a quiet cabin by a lake, everything changed. The break from routine gave him a fresh perspective, and he returned with a renewed sense of purpose. His relationships improved, his productivity soared, and most importantly, he felt more balanced. The power of that short vacation wasn't just in the relaxation, but in the way it allowed him to reconnect with what truly mattered. How would stepping away from the everyday stress and diving into a new environment change how you feel? The truth is, the benefits of traveling go far beyond relaxation. It's a way to recharge, reset, and reconnect with the world around you, and with yourself. And even if you don't think you have the time or resources for a long vacation, remember, it's not about the length or distance of the trip. It's about the quality of the time you give yourself. At the end of the day, life is more than just the routines we fall into. Traveling isn't just a luxury. It's a necessity for your mental and emotional health. It reduces stress, strengthens your relationships, and reminds you that life is meant to be lived, not merely survived. So don't wait for the perfect time to plan a getaway. Pack your bags, choose a destination, and let the adventure begin. The memories you make will stay with you long after the trip ends, serving as a reminder that taking time for yourself isn't selfish, it's essential. As the saying goes, sometimes the best way to find yourself is to get lost. By allowing yourself to wander, to explore, and to embrace the unknown, you'll find that the greatest journey is often the one that leads you back to yourself. 10. Pasa tiempo con amigos y familia. Have you ever stopped to really think about what truly matters in life? I'm not talking about whether your neighbor drives a fancier car than you, or if your colleague landed that promotion you thought you deserved. I'm talking about what genuinely counts. Your friends and family. Yes, those same people who might sometimes drive you crazy, but who are at the very core of your existence. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." And what could you possibly want more than the companionship and love of those closest to you? Let's be honest. Money can buy you a lot of things, but it will never buy the irreplaceable moments spent with loved ones, the belly laughs at a family dinner, the deep conversations with an old friend, or the simple comfort of knowing someone is there for you. Numerous studies have shown that social interactions and strong family bonds are the foundation of a happy life. One of the most compelling pieces of evidence comes from George Vaillant, a researcher who spent over 80 years studying 268 men. His conclusion? The only thing that really matters in life is your relationships with others. It's as straightforward as that. No material wealth, no professional achievement can replace the fulfillment that comes from meaningful connections. But what does this look like in your everyday life? Instead of spending hours scrolling through social media, comparing your life to the highlight reels of others, invest that time in nurturing your real-life relationships. Imagine your friendships and family ties as a garden. If you don't tend to it, weeds will grow, and soon enough, it'll become a barren wasteland. Why not take the time to cultivate those bonds, to water the soil and pull out the weeds? It's simple. Spend more time with the people who genuinely matter to you. A study even quantified the value of social connections in terms of happiness. It revealed that strong social ties could be worth up to £85,000 per year in increased happiness. More than $100,000. Think about that for a second. Your happiness, the kind that comes from connecting with others, holds more value than a luxury car. That alone should make you rethink your priorities. What's more valuable? A shiny new gadget that will lose its appeal in a couple of years, or a deep, fulfilling conversation with someone who makes you laugh until you cry? At the end of the day, happiness isn't found in material possessions. It's found in the relationships that enrich your life. But let's not confuse the idea of relationships with having lots of acquaintances or superficial connections. Stoic philosophy reminds us of the importance of balance and emotional control, so it's not about collecting friends like trading cards. Instead, focus on building meaningful connections that nourish your soul. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, who make your thoughts brighter, and who bring joy and wisdom into your life. These are the relationships that matter. Spend time with the people who make you feel good and who support you. Host a dinner, organize a game night, or simply take a walk with someone you care about. The opportunities to connect are endless and the rewards are immeasurable. Remember, happiness doesn't come from external achievements or material goods. It comes from the depth and quality of your relationships. When you look back on your life, it won't be the gadgets you bought or the promotions you earned that fill your heart with gratitude. It will be the shared memories, the laughter, and the love. In the fast-paced world we live in, it's easy to let life slip by without truly engaging with the people who matter most. But don't let that happen. As Seneca wisely said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And your thoughts are deeply shaped by the relationships you cultivate. Every smile, every hug, every moment of shared experience builds a life that's rich in meaning and purpose. So as you move forward, keep this in mind. Life's true value isn't measured by material wealth or fleeting accomplishments, but by the smiles you share, the bonds you build, and the love you give. Take time to invest in those around you, because in the end, the lasting legacy you leave behind isn't about the things you owned, but the hearts you touched. Like Seneca said, happiness is built with the footprints we leave in the hearts of others. 11. Help other people. Have you ever stopped to think about the power of helping others? It might sound like a cliché, but there's something truly transformative about lending a hand to someone in need. It's not just about being a good Samaritan. It's about tapping into a profound source of joy and purpose that can dramatically enhance your own life. According to Martin Seligman, a prominent professor at the University of Pennsylvania and one of the leading figures in positive psychology, helping others could be your direct path to happiness. So if you're on a quest for that elusive formula to live more joyfully, maybe it's time to look beyond yourself. Perhaps the answer lies not in what you gain for yourself, but in the smile of someone you've helped. Stoic philosophers centuries ago already had an inkling about this. They understood that real happiness isn't found in accumulating possessions, but in fostering meaningful human connections. When you choose to help someone, it's not just them who benefits, you're also rewiring your brain in the process. Science now supports this ancient wisdom. A study has shown that offering support to others reduces stress by lowering activity in the brain regions associated with anxiety, while boosting those linked to pleasure and caregiving. It's like gifting yourself a piece of happiness every time you extend kindness to another. This isn't magic, it's neuroscience. So the next time you help a neighbor, share a kind word with a colleague, or offer advice to a friend, you're also lighting a spark of joy within yourself. But the story doesn't stop there. Research has also found that spending money on others, what's known as pro-social spending, can bring more lasting happiness than using it solely for personal indulgence. Think about the last time you treated a friend to dinner or contributed to a charity close to your heart. That warm feeling you experienced afterward wasn't just fleeting satisfaction. It was your brain thanking you for investing in experiences and relationships rather than in material goods. Now compare that to the fleeting joy of buying something for yourself, which often ends up forgotten in a closet or drawer. You're enriching your life in a far more meaningful way by spending time and resources on others. And the best part is, it's a cycle of giving that gives back. Of course, there's always that inner voice telling you, take care of yourself first. That's a valid concern, but this is where Stoicism can provide valuable insight. The Stoics believe that true well-being comes from living in harmony with virtue and purpose. Helping others isn't just about selflessness, it's about connecting with your own humanity. By reaching out to help someone, you're reaffirming your place in the world and strengthening the invisible bonds that link us all together. It's a win-win situation. The person you help benefits from your kindness, and you, in turn, receive a boost in happiness and fulfillment. As Epictetus once said, we are not made for ourselves alone, reminding us that our lives are most meaningful when shared with others. Now, I'm not saying you need to become a superhero, nor should you feel obligated to dedicate every waking hour to charitable causes. Helping others can be as simple as taking the time to listen to a friend going through a rough patch, or sharing your expertise with someone who's struggling. Small acts of kindness, even something as seemingly insignificant as a warm smile or a thoughtful gesture, can brighten someone's day. And you'd be surprised how those little moments can have a ripple effect, turning what was once a gray day into one filled with light, for both you and the person you've helped. Think back to a time when you felt stuck in your routine, weighed down by the demands of daily life. How often have you considered that there's a whole world of people around you who could benefit from your support? Sometimes, the quickest way out of that feeling of being trapped is to step outside yourself and offer help. The Stoics taught us that while we can't control everything that happens in life, we can always control how we respond to others. And choosing to respond with kindness and generosity not only enhances their lives but also enriches your own. The happiness you seek isn't a distant destination, but a journey made meaningful by the relationships you cultivate and the help you give along the way. In modern life, it's easy to become so focused on personal success, wealth, or possessions that we lose sight of what really matters. But when you look back on your life, what will fill your heart with gratitude? It won't be the gadgets, the status, or the material comforts. It'll be the shared experiences, the moments of connection, and the knowledge that you made a difference in someone's life. Helping others reminds us of our shared humanity and strengthens the fabric of our communities. As Seneca wisely said, "None can live happily who has regard for themselves alone, and transforms everything into a question of their own utility. You must live for others if you wish to live for yourself." So, the next time you find yourself caught up in the daily grind, remember that there are people all around you who could use a little help. Whether it's through a simple act of kindness or something more substantial, your efforts not only make the world a better place but also make you a happier, more fulfilled person. The joy of life lies in these connections, in the acts of giving that transcend the material and create something far more lasting. At the end of the day, the most important legacy you can leave isn't about what you've amassed, but about how you've touched the lives of others. 12. Focus on the good things you have. Have you ever taken a moment to reflect on the small treasures hidden in your daily life, the little things that often go unnoticed in the chaos? Life, with all its ups and downs, can sometimes feel like an endless roller coaster, throwing surprises your way, bringing joy one moment and challenges the next. But what if I told you that the key to a fuller and happier life lies in focusing on the good things you already have? This isn't about becoming an overly optimistic person who sees rainbows in every cloud. Instead, it's a Stoic philosophy that encourages shifting your perspective to appreciate the positive aspects of your life. Picture this. At the end of each day, you sit down with a simple notebook. Not to write the next great novel, but to engage in an exercise called the 3 good things. Yes, it might sound like a self-help mantra, but bear with me. The idea is simple. Each night, jot down 3 things that made you smile or gave you a sense of satisfaction. It could be something as simple as enjoying a cup of coffee that tasted perfect, or maybe your neighbor finally decided to stop blasting loud music at 3 a.m. What matters is that by doing this, you train your mind to seek out and focus on the positive moments in a sea of daily frustrations. There's solid science backing this practice. Research has shown that those who focus on the good in their lives experience significant emotional benefits. It's like giving your brain a small workout, stretching its capacity to notice the positive and letting go of the mental laziness that often leads us into negativity. Think of it as switching the channel from a boring show you don't like to something that actually captivates you. By consciously redirecting your thoughts, you make space for more joy and less discouragement in your day-to-day life. We all know it's easier to dwell on the negative. It can feel almost comforting, like sinking into a couch with a bag of popcorn, watching the same old drama unfold. But ask yourself, do you really want to live like that? Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control external events, we can control how we perceive and respond to them. So, why not choose to see the good instead of getting stuck in the rut of negativity? Incorporating this practice into your daily life doesn't mean you need a fancy leather-bound journal or hours of introspection. It can be as simple as carving out a mental space at the end of the day to reflect on what went right. Did a joke in your WhatsApp group make you laugh? Did someone help you carry groceries when you were struggling? These small moments of kindness, humor, and connection are the highlights we often overlook, but they're worth celebrating. The more you water these seeds of positivity, the more you'll realize that your life is filled with moments worth remembering. And it doesn't stop at keeping a journal. You can also make a conscious effort to practice gratitude throughout the day. Ask yourself, what in my life do I truly appreciate right now? Sometimes the answer is closer than you think. It might be the beauty of a walk in the park, the warmth of a conversation with a friend, or even the quiet peace of sitting with a good book. By focusing on these moments, you not only enhance your emotional well-being, but also strengthen your relationships. People who actively appreciate the good in their lives tend to be more empathetic and generous, attracting positive energy and people around them like a magnet. Life, of course, is rarely smooth. It's full of unexpected turns that can leave you feeling lost or overwhelmed. But by centering your attention on the good things, you equip yourself to weather the storm. Practicing the 3 good things isn't just a mental exercise, it's an act of self-love. It's reminding yourself that no matter how tough things get, there are always silver linings, always rays of light waiting to be noticed. As the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and you are in control of those thoughts. Let me give you an example from modern life. There was a man I knew who was constantly overwhelmed by work, always racing from one deadline to the next, never stopping to breathe. His stress levels were through the roof and his relationships were starting to suffer. But after hearing about this simple practice of focusing on the positives, he decided to give it a try. Every night, he would take just a few minutes to think about the good things from his day, whether it was a successful meeting, a kind word from a colleague, or even something as simple as his morning walk. Slowly, he noticed a shift. He wasn't as stressed, his interactions with people became more positive, and he started to feel more content with his life. It wasn't that his external circumstances had drastically changed, it was that his mindset had. So how can you apply this to your own life? It's easier than you might think. Start small. At the end of each day, take just 5 minutes to reflect on the moments that brought you joy, peace, or satisfaction. You don't have to wait for grand events. Even the smallest things count. Did the sun feel warm on your face today? Did your favorite song come on the radio? These are the moments that make life richer, and by recognizing them, you train your brain to see the world in a more positive light. Remember, life isn't about the number of storms you face, but how you choose to navigate through them. By focusing on what's good, you're giving yourself the tools to find happiness even when things aren't perfect. And let's be honest, life is never perfect. But the Stoics teach us that happiness doesn't depend on perfection. It depends on our ability to find value in what we already have. As Seneca wisely noted, true happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. 13. Avoid resentment. Have you ever felt like a volcano on the verge of erupting? That simmering anger, the bitterness that settles deep in your stomach, clinging to you like an unwanted companion. Life is complicated enough without carrying the extra burden of resentment, and Stoic philosophy offers us some guidance on how to free ourselves from these emotional chains. Let's talk about forgiveness. Not the kind that's easy to talk about but hard to practice, but the kind that, once embraced, can lead to a much happier life. Forgiveness is often misunderstood as weakness, but in reality, it's a sign of incredible strength and self-respect. Holding on to anger and resentment is like being stuck on a ship in the middle of a storm. You have two choices. You can either keep fighting the waves, or allow yourself to let go and drift toward calmer waters. The truth is, resentment is much like those waves, constantly pushing you toward darker places. Why? Because when you refuse to forgive, you're not just punishing the person who wronged you, you're punishing yourself. Holding on to that negativity weighs you down and keeps you from experiencing peace. Practicing forgiveness, however, can lead you to physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. It's not about ignoring the harm that was done or pretending everything is fine. It's about refusing to let that pain have power over you. You might be thinking, sure, that sounds good, but where do I even start? Forgiveness isn't something that happens overnight or by chanting a magical mantra. It starts with a simple shift in perspective. First, acknowledge your feelings. It's okay to feel angry, hurt, or upset. But don't let those emotions become your permanent state. Think of it like a chess game. Losing a piece doesn't mean you've lost the match. Forgiving someone doesn't mean you're saying they were right. It means you're choosing not to let their actions dictate your happiness. You're reclaiming your power, deciding that their wrongdoings won't control your emotions any longer. Science backs up what the Stoics have known for centuries. Forgiveness isn't just an act of kindness toward others. It's a survival strategy for yourself. Studies have shown that people who practice forgiveness experience lower levels of stress and better mental health. This isn't just an interesting fact, it's a reminder that taking care of your emotional health should always be a priority. It's like giving yourself a mental cleanse, wiping away the clutter of resentment to make room for peace and happiness. But it goes deeper than that. Forgiving yourself and others acts as a shield against severe stress and can even prevent more serious mental health issues. Think of forgiveness as a kind of emotional vitamin. By practicing it regularly, you strengthen your mental and emotional immune system, making yourself more resilient in the face of life's challenges. You become better equipped to handle stress, anxiety, and the emotional turmoil that life inevitably throws your way. So, why not start today? Think of it as doing yourself a favor. Sure, there will be hard days. Days when anger creeps back in, much like a mischievous cat trying to sneak inside. On those days, remind yourself that you're not alone. Forgiveness is something we all struggle with. But the important thing is that it's a process, not a one-time event. Like anything worthwhile, it takes time and practice. Sometimes forgiving can be as simple as letting go of a grudge you've been holding on to for far too long. It's like cleaning out a cluttered closet. Once you've cleared it out, the space feels lighter, more open. Forgiveness isn't about winners and losers. It's not a scorecard. It's a gift you give yourself, a tool to help you keep your ship afloat during life's storms. The next time you feel resentment bubbling up, ask yourself this: do you really want to let someone else's actions dictate your mood, your peace, your happiness? The Stoics believe that while we can't control what happens to us, we can control how we react to it. So, don't let resentment have the final say in your life. Remember, forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about releasing the weight that doesn't belong to you. I remember hearing about a man who carried a grudge for years over a business deal that went wrong. It consumed him. Every time he thought about it, anger would surge through his veins, and it started to affect his health, his relationships, even his work. One day he realized that the person he was angry with had moved on and wasn't affected by the situation anymore. Yet he was still holding on to that bitterness. It was at that moment he decided to let go. He didn't forgive to absolve the other person's actions, but to free himself from the emotional chains that were weighing him down. Once he did, his life improved. He felt lighter, more at peace, and was able to enjoy life again. That's the true power of forgiveness. It's not about the other person. It's about liberating yourself. So, the next time resentment tries to ruin your day, pause and remind yourself that happiness is a choice. Are you going to let someone else steal that from you? As a friend once told me, forgiveness is less about erasing the past and more about opening up a brighter future. It's about choosing not to let yesterday's storm cloud your view of tomorrow's sunshine. In the end, happiness comes down to how you navigate life's challenges. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools you have to do that. It's a practice, a mindset, and most importantly, a choice. And like any skill, the more you work at it, the better you become. So why not start today? When resentment knocks at your door, choose to let go. Choose peace. Choose happiness. Remember the words of the Stoic philosopher Seneca: "He who is brave is free." As we wrap up this video on the 13 things you need to know to live happily, I hope you've gained some valuable insights from Stoicism that you can apply in your own life. Remember, happiness is not about avoiding challenges, but about how we choose to face them. If you found this content helpful, please take a moment to like the video, share it with others who may benefit, and don't forget to subscribe to Stoic in Your Life. Make sure to turn on notifications so you won't miss our upcoming videos on living with purpose, resilience, and wisdom. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.